yesterday we were discussing about semen analysis, and we got cut off in between. So we were in counting of sperm. Okay, sperm count kaisa karte hai? You take a Newbus chamber and you dilute the sperm sample that you get, quite a lot actually. And once you dilute it, you'll put it on the Newbus chamber. You put a glass slide on it and you start counting, similar to what you do in hemocytometer. Okay, RBC count jaisa karte, the same boxes that I told you yesterday. ऐसे 5 boxes रहते हैं, and each of those box will have 16 boxes in turn, so they will be 4 by 4 inside each of them. Okay, 1 2 3 4, something like that. Okay, so you'll have 16 boxes. What you do in this case is you count two boxes out of 25. You will count randomly two boxes. Let's suppose you're counting this box and you're counting this box. Okay, and let's suppose you're getting two different numbers. One here you're getting 120 and here you're getting 128, for example. What you do is you take the average of it, 124, multiply it by the total number of boxes. So you've counted two, right? उसमें से एक average ले रहे हैं आप. Then you multiply that by 25. Finally, with the diluting factor, what ends up happening is this number will be represented by n. The total number of sperm or spermatozoa present in the semen sample that you get will be determined by n into 1 lakh. Okay, by multiplying all the dilution factors, by multiplying the number of boxes, all of that, you will end up getting 1 lakh. So this will basically represent the number of spermatozoa that is present in 1 ml of the sample. Normally the size of the sample for a normal person, normal value should be more than 60 million. Okay, 60 million per ml. If it is less than 20, it is abnormal. Then it is less than 20 million. Okay. Or now you can also have a condition where the person is having polyzoospermia, way too many number of sperms in the semen sample. That will be more than 350 million. Okay, we'll discuss about those other conditions as well, where what you interpret with the semen analysis. But the other end, the lower end will be less than 20. Upper end will be more than 350. If there is more than 350 million sperms in the semen sample, the sample that you have taken, per ml अगर 350 million से ज़्यादा है, then that is polyzoospermia. Okay, if you have less than 20 billion, that will be oligozoospermia. Okay, decreased amount of sperm number. Now coming to motility, how you check whether it is motile or not. Now what you do is, once you take the sample, immediately after taking the sample, you will put it under a microscope and you will observe, initially under a low power microscope, then under a high power microscope. So once immediately, let's suppose you have taken the sample at let's suppose 12 p.m. Okay, measure it in less than 2 hours. Okay, normally if you measure it immediately, what you will be able to see is that for the first around 2 hours or so, okay, roughly immediately when you check, you will see that almost 60% of sperms are vigorously motile, meaning 60% of sperms are moving about very very rapidly. Okay, that is at 2 hour mark. If a little bit more time goes by and you are at 6 to 8 hour mark, okay, once you've collected the sample and immediately you are checking within 2 hours, you'll be able to see 60% of sperms are in the sample are very motile. 6 to 8 hours के बाद अगर देखें तो it will be around 25 to 40%, meaning 25 to 40% of the total sample, they will be motile. So for example, let's suppose a person has sample में 100 million sperms per ml. Okay, example. So आप sample में what you'll be able to see is that out of this number, at least 60 million will be very motile per ml. uh, After 6 to 8 hours, 25 to 40 million will be motile. Okay, per ml. Again, if you consider the whole sample, the number will go up, but generally per ml उतना रहता. If you have motility less than 50, if the motility is less than 50%, especially at this point, if you immediately check and the motility of the sperm is less than 50%, meaning if less than half of the sperms are not moving at all properly, that means that it is abnormal. Motility is abnormal. Normally the motility should be over 60%. Okay, that will be normal. Abnormal will be less than 50. Now, I'm not telling this after some time, okay? I'm not telling after a couple of hours or something. 50%. This will be within 2 hours. Agar within 2 hours, less than 50% of sperms are immobile or immotile. In that case, it is abnormal. All right. Then the last thing you will check for is morphology, the shape, size, and what is the type of sperm that is present. Now you prepare a smear from liquefied semen and you put it on a glass slide. Okay, you can stain it with any of the Romanowski stains, and you will observe 200 sperms. Okay, so once you take the sample, you put it on the slide, and you will stain it. You can use any of the Romanowski stain, PAP or H or E stain, वो भी use कर सकते हैं आप. Once you stain it, you will count or you will check 200 spermatozoa. ठीक है? Out of 200, at least 80% should be normal. ठीक है? अब abnormality कैसा दिखती है? I'll show you. See, this is the abnormality. Matlab, normal sperm is on the left. You might have any of these morphological abnormalities might be seen, meaning 80% should be normal, 20% will generally be abnormal. There'll be some of the other abnormality. There'll be double head, or there'll be swollen or pointed head, या rough head रहता, या you double head, double body, या microsperm रह सकता, या फिर abnormal middle part रह सकता. Anything. These are all abnormal sperms. These should only constitute not more than 20% of the whole sample. Whatever sample you are taking, उसमें specifically आप randomly 200 collect कर 200 count करते, वो 200 में से 80% should be normal. 20% can be abnormal. That is the upper limit or the buffer limit. If there is more than 20% which are normal, that is a problem. Okay. You can also look for the presence of RBCs and WBCs in the sample. Okay. Now if you are able to perform this in a computer, it will be much more easier, because counting physically will be a lot of strain. Okay, it will take quite a lot of time also, and it will be a lot of strain on your eye. So it is easier to just put it in a computer and let it count, let it get counted, especially when the what you call sample is very small. Okay, or if you have a sample with very low number of sperms, in those cases also it is easier to count using or use easier to count using computer. Okay, now whenever you perform any of these sperm analysis, whether you're checking for sperm count or motility or morphology, you'll make a few inferences. Okay, what are you concluding from that? So for example, if there is total absence of ejaculate, total absence of ejaculate, meaning this condition will be called aspermia. Patient is not able to ejaculate at all. That is a problem. Okay. Then another condition will be if there is total absence of sperm. Total absence of sperm. See, being able to ejaculate is different, and having sperm in the ejaculate is different. Semen and sperm together will be present in ejaculate. Agar semen hai, sperm nahi hai, then that is also a problem. That will be azoospermia. Azoospermia, meaning there is semen but there is no sperm. Okay, in total absence of ejaculate there is nothing at all, no sample at all. Okay, then you can have decreased volume of ejaculate. This will be oligospermia. Okay, agar decreased amount of or decreased number of sperm hai, okay, less than 20 million. Okay, this will be oligozoospermia. Zoospermia, right? Then if there is above 350 million, if sperm count is greater than 350 million per ml, this will be polyzoospermia. Okay. Lastly, if you start seeing dead sperm cells, that will be necrospermia. So these are the inferences that you can get from performing analysis of semen. Okay, you'll check for the quantity, you will check for the morphology, you will check for the number of sperms, you will check for the total amount of semen content that is present. Okay, you'll check for any other abnormality that might be present in semen. Okay, now coming to methods of collection. Okay, we'll try to finish CSF today. There are some other cavity fluids as well, specifically gastric fluid, sputum and gastric fluid, and semen analysis, but those are small. So CSF का main रहता. Now, coming to specimen collection for CSF analysis, there are two main ways for collecting CSF. Technically, there is a third one as well, but it is rarely used. So, specimen collection for CSF analysis. Okay. First of all, we'll come to the most commonly used, which is lumbar puncture. तीन टेक्निक्स रहते हैं. You have lumbar puncture, you have cisternal puncture, and you have lateral cervical puncture. Okay, I'll show you a video for lumbar puncture. It will be easier for you to understand. Uh, right. So I hope you guys can see this. यहाँ पर what you are doing is before performing a lumbar puncture. See, lumbar puncture is something that you perform as a diagnostic tool. Very rarely you perform it as a therapeutic tool. Therapeutic procedure जब होता है when you are trying to decrease CSF pressure. ठीक है? If there is excessive amount of pressure in your cerebral in your CNS because of increased amount of CSF, that is when it will be therapeutic, when you're trying to decrease a little bit of pressure. Or else it is mainly diagnostic to diagnose meningitis, mainly meningitis के लिए check करते, या फिर you can also check for malignant cells, carcinoma of meningitis, carcinomatous meningitis या फिर medulloblastoma है, उसके लिए check करते हैं आप CSF. Now what you do is in the procedure, first of all you'll make the patient, you can have the procedure done while the patient is sitting as well. You have to elevate the patient's feet with the stool, and you have to make sure that bending their head and neck, but it is much more easier if you are able to make them lie down. If the patient is not able to lie down, then you can have the test done while they are sitting. In any case, what you do is in lumbar puncture, first the patient will be placed on the left lateral position. Okay, यहाँ पर right पे लगा है, but left lateral position is also fine. And you will make sure they are assuming a fetal position. Okay, what they do is you'll make sure that their neck is flexed and their knees are flexed. Their knees are folding towards their chest and their neck is drooping down. Okay, towards their chest. That is flexion, so that their back is completely and neatly exposed. All right. Once they have assumed such a position, what you will do is you will perform in aseptic technique. You can what you can do is you can start putting iodine. See, that fellow is putting iodine now. See, sometimes what happens is the patient will not be able to follow instructions, so you'll have to guide them. Okay, even if especially if they are having some special infections of their CNS, they might not be able to follow orders completely. So you will need someone's help, or you will have to actually physically, push the patient around. Not exactly push, I would say direct the patient around to a certain position, so that they are holding this position. And as you can see on the left side, there is a nurse as well. She will help the doctor in holding the position in place, because you do not want the patient moving around while while the doctor is performing lumbar puncture. Okay, you're not supposed to move around while that it can lead to severe damage. Okay, because you are essentially putting a needle in your spinal cord. Now see, what you do is once it has covered, देखो, see, what they'll do is he was initially palpating the area. Where you do is up L4 L4 L5, देखो, इलियाक जो बोन है, इलियाक क्रेस्ट है, वहां पर पहले लोकेट करते हैं. इलियाक क्रस्ट से ऊपर जाते. ओके, यू गो टू इन बिटवीन L4 L5 और L3 L4, एनी ऑफ दीज पोजीशंस आर फाइन. ठीक है, if you have a slim enough patient, or if you have, see, generally what happens is if you are able to flex them properly, you can see cleanly see as well कहाँ पर अलग अलग vertebrae है. If you are not able to see them clearly, you can use the iliac fossa Generally also you'll use iliac fossa, but at that time it will become extremely necessary. Iliac fossa say you'll count one or two vertebrae up, and then you will start the procedure. So initially you will palpate the area. Once you have palpated, you will what do you call, administer a little bit of local anesthetic in that area, okay, under the skin. See, see, is palpating it first, selected the spot. Now this is only lidocaine, okay, he's only putting a little bit of lidocaine. See, now he's putting the main anesthetic. See, he's putting a longer and thicker needle. See, he is pushing in the needle. This is spinal anesthesia essentially. When we are discussing about spinal anesthetics, I told you, whenever you are performing spinal anesthesia, आप needle को थोड़ा घुसा के, what you will do is you will start what you call pressing the pushing the drug inside, and you will keep drawing the fluid back a little bit. This is so that you make sure it is not entering a vascular space. Okay, you have to make sure that the needle has not pricked into a blood vessel. If you draw back and you start seeing a little bit of blood in the needle, you have to remove it out. Okay, that is what he's doing. He is pushing a little bit of drug and he is pulling it out again. Dekho, he's pushing in and he's pulling out. Okay, slowly slowly he's going deeper also. Okay, he'll at least go 2 inches deep. See where he started initially, यहाँ पर था needle. See, 1 second, इधर था needle बाहर. ठीक है, this is a thicker needle as well, higher gauge. ठीक है, as he keeps going, he'll push the needle also inside. Okay, not just pushing the fluid inside, and by the end he'll go completely inside. See, यहाँ पर patient को थोड़ा uncomfortable था, तो what they did is they stopped and they removed it. You have to give the medicine a little bit of time to work. Okay, now this he's using a lumbar puncture needle. See, spinal needle भी बोलते उसको. वो same space में you are perpendicularly pushing it in. ठीक है, he'll check whether it is deep enough. It is not, so he'll continue. He'll go deeper and deeper. What will happen is, as you keep going in, initially you will feel two different taps. Okay, the patient will you'll be able to feel two positions. You will have they're called gives. Okay, the first give will be that you'll be able to sense whether you, when you have pierced through dura mater. Okay, you need to go into subarachnoid space, meaning you need to keep on going beyond the dura mater, and you will start getting another what you call resistance like that, called arachnoid matter. Okay, dura matter, फिर arachnoid matter, and in arachnoid matter or in subarachnoid space you will have CSF. So you need to go keep going till you reach that point. Now I'm not able to tell you how that doctor feels, but you'll generally have a give. Some patients will literally move a little bit once you'll hear a popping sound as well. Okay, once you push into dura mater and once you push into arachnoid matter, you either hear a slight pop or the patient will move a little bit slightly. Okay, that is your cue. Now what is happening is he's moving inside and inside, and at one point he'll start seeing. See, you'll be able to see fluid. Normally it should be clear. Okay, देखो. See, generally what you do is you collect them in tubes which are clear. Now in this he's used a thin needle. Advantage is that the patient will not have a headache as much and lesser problem as well. It'll flow slowly though. That is a problem. See, once you have collected enough amount of sample, so I'm fast forwarding the video a little bit. See, you'll put the stylet back in and you'll see gauze लगा के you hold that position for a little bit of time. That is how you perform a lumbar puncture. Okay, I hope you understood that. So what he did was he basically made sure that the patient is lying around on the lateral side. He palpated the area. First he saw the iliac crest. उसके ऊपर जाके you count two vertebrae. You basically enter L3, L4 or L4, L5 के बीच की space में. You add a little bit of anesthetic initially. The initial small half a cc that he added was to flare the skin. ठीक है, once they have flared the skin, they don't have to locate it again and again. So once the skin has flared, you start giving spinal anesthesia after that. You keep going deeper and deeper. Once you have given enough amount of spinal anesthesia, then you add the lumbar puncture needle and you keep going deeper till you hear two pops. You're entering dura mater and arachnoid matter. And once you are into subarachnoid space, you'll start seeing clear fluid coming out or fluid coming out. If the patient is normal, then generally it will be clear. If the patient is having some problem, then that fluid might be turbid or it might have some certain color. Okay, generally you'll make sure that while doing any of these procedures, blood is not coming out. You're not entering any vascular space. Okay, you're not pinching or piercing any blood vessel. So that is how lumbar puncture is done. Now coming to cisternal puncture. Cisternal puncture क्या है? Cisternal puncture ऐसा रहता. So once again, see now सिस्टानल पंक्चर में स्पेसिफिकली क्या करते हैं आप? सिस्टाना मैग्ना है ना, उसके अंदर नीडल प्रेस करते. सो सी हियर, यहाँ पर. Okay, in a short time he'll show it on a patient as well. You take the needle, if you can see here. Okay, you'll take the needle and pierce it inside. I'll show you. See, cerebellum medullaris भी बोलते हैं उसको, yes, cisterna magna भी बोलते हैं. One second. See, that is where the needle is supposed to go. Okay, now you make sure the patient is flexed completely. Now this was a long time ago where you used to use ethyl chloride spray and used to use iodine, but nowadays it has changed a little bit, but procedure remains the same. Okay, you'll make sure that there is a nurse or someone who is holding the patient's neck in flexion. You add a little bit of anesthetic, inject a little bit of anesthetic. Once you've injected it, what you do is, see, you locate the space, cisterna magna, and carefully push in. Okay, anesthetic आप दे दिए. Once you have given the anesthetic, see, this is the what do you call stylet needle. जो cannula needle है ना, वो क्या बोलते हैं, ventricular cannula needle. I'll show you an image of that cannula needle as well. Same point को use करके जहाँ पर आप anesthetic दिए थे, he's pushing it in. See, once you remove that, you puncture the ligament. Okay, occipital loid ligament. Once you puncture that, you'll be able to see. See, यहाँ से fourth ventricle में pierce कर रहा है basically. You'll be able to vertical collect CSF from it. Now he has used a thick needle because of which flow is much more faster. Nowadays thinner needles are used. It is easier for the patient, even though it is what you call slower. The patient will not have headache as much. Okay, the patient will not be as uncomfortable as well. Okay, once you've collected enough amount of CSF for the sample, one second, see, collect कर लेने के बाद stop it and withdraw the needle very carefully. Okay, he was a little rough and the video has been speeded up, but you are very careful while doing it. Okay, because you do not want to nick the surrounding structures. Cisternal needle जो रहती ऐसी दिखती. See, this is the cisternal needle or the ventricular drainage needle. This is the whole needle. It's a thick needle here, and you will have a stylet in between. That if you remove the stylet, the fluid will move out of that. Okay, there'll be space for the fluid to pass. Right. Now coming to the last type of puncture, you have lateral cervical puncture. अब lateral cervical puncture ऐसा करते. One second. No, not this one. Hold on one guys. See, this is how lateral cervical puncture is done. अब आप क्या कर रहे हैं, साइड से laterally you're piercing a particular needle. यहाँ पर आप इंसेशन बना के यू आर गोइंग ऑल द वे इनटू योर ड्यूरा मैटर एंड इनटू द सीएसएफ स्पेस. दिस इज जनरली डन फॉर माइलोग्राफ. ठीक है, रेडियोलॉजिकल एग्जाम के लिए कर सकते हैं आप डाई ऐड कर रहे हैं, या फिर यू कैन जस्ट फॉर सीएसएफ कलेक्शन के लिए कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, इट विल बी द सेम प्रोसीजर एज कॉर्डोटोमी. कॉर्डोटोमी इज व्हेन यू ट्राई टू व्हाट यू कॉल trying to numb the patient for pain. ठीक है, आप थोड़े ऑपरेशंस में, स्पाइनल ऑपरेशंस में, यू परफॉर्म कॉर्डोटोमी. सेम प्रोसीजर ये इधर भी फॉलो करते. ठीक है, यू विल टेक द अटलांटो एक्सियल इंटरस्पेस और अटलांटो ऑक्सीपिटल इंटरस्पेस, मीनिंग एटलस एंड ऑक्सीपिटल स्पेस के बीच में, ये एटलस एंड एक्सिस के स्पेस के बीच में यू विल इंसर्ट अ नीडल laterally and you will puncture into the subarachnoid space. ठीक है, you will go deeper and deeper and you will puncture into the subarachnoid space. Once you perform it physically, it will be easier for you to understand how it is done. I was not able to find a video for this, but that is how you do. यहाँ पर laterally जा रहे हैं, वहाँ पर lumbar puncture में straight जा रहे थे, उतना ही difference है, and location में difference है. Now normally these are the procedures for collecting CSF. Okay, normally you will take up to 2 ml. Okay, generally 2 ml of CSF is withdrawn. Yeah, that is more than enough generally. Most of the tap, ये लोगों को spinal tap बोलते हैं या CSF tap बोलते हैं. It is done by lumbar puncture. More often than not, the most common procedure that you will see is lumbar puncture. Nowadays, it is rarer to find people doing cystaral punctures or doing lateral cervical punctures. The risks are more comparatively, and it is more uncomfortable for the patient as well. Lumbar puncture is much more easier. Okay, much more feasible as well. You'll check for 4 main things in the CSF. You'll check for meningeal infection. You'll check for subarachnoid hemorrhage. अगर subarachnoid hemorrhage है बोले तो CSF will come out bloody. या फिर you will check for tumor cells, malignant cells or tumor cells, or you will check for any demyelinating disease. You will start seeing fragments of myelin sheet in your CSF. Demyelinating disease check करते. Now, as such, once you have collected the specimen, as soon as possible shift it to the lab. ठीक है, less than in within 1 hour of collecting, generally shift it to the lab so that it can be stored if required, or it is generally examined quickly. अगर आप store कर रहे हो तो the lab personnel they will freeze it or they'll do something. जनरली अगर माइक्रोब्स के लिए चेक कर रहे हो तो उसको स्टोर नहीं करते. अगर बैक्टीरिया समथिंग के लिए चेक कर रहे हैं, यू डू नॉट स्टोर. इफ यू आर चेकिंग फॉर समथिंग एल्स, देन इट इज फाइन टू स्टोर इट अ लिटिल बिट, but generally it is done quickly. Once you take the CSF, examination is done quite quickly. Now, as such, the normal parameters that you see in CSF, the normal composition of CSF, it should be clear and colorless. Okay, you will have almost around 600 to 700 ml of CSF being produced in a day. Okay, in a total day, 600 to 700 ml will be produced, and you are only withdrawing around 2 to 4 ml. Okay, not a lot of fluid is withdrawn, not a lot of CSF is withdrawn. Totally you will have around 120 to 150 ml in adults. 120 150, almost a little bit. ठीक है, in some patients 100 भी रहता, but generally 120 to 150 लेते. In a adult, अगर child है बोले तो कम रहता. ठीक है, especially अगर neonate है तो 10 to 60 ml ही रहता. यहाँ पर daily secretion 450 to 500 दिया, but we know through our calculation that when we studied about CSF, I told you it will be around 600 to 700 ml. ठीक है, per minute a certain amount is secreted. If you keep on calculating through it, you'll get 600 to 700. In any case, the other components like protein, glucose, there are certain normal levels. If you're checking for specific gravity, थोड़ा बढ़ के लेना पड़ता sample, but other than that, it is fine. Okay, so these are some of the common components. Now here bacteria is not mentioned, but you should generally not find any bacteria in your CSF. Okay, a BBB is something that is blocking bacteria altogether, so you should not find any bacteria that are invading into your CSF. Okay, we'll discuss about specimen collection for other bodily fluids tomorrow. Okay, we have sputum and gastric content and semen analysis that we'll discuss about tomorrow.